Am I in the wrong for beating up my eggplant in front of the camera my mom forced me to have in my room? I'm a 17-year-old.
Yo, today we're finna react to TikTok story times. Now look, these might get a little bit crazy. I don't know. I'm just picking these randomly. Let's go ahead and get to it.
Was the nastiest thing you ever done? My boyfriend and I recently got into an argument, and we broke up. I stormed out of his house crying. While I was walking home, this guy pulled his car up to me. At first, I thought I was going to get kidnapped, but he was just asking if I was okay. I guess he saw me crying. Anyways, this made me really happy because it showed me that someone cared. I hopped in his car and told him what happened with my boyfriend. I asked him if I could repay him by giving him the best time of his life. It didn't take long for him to agree. We hopped in the back seat and went at it. I guess I was super good because it didn't take long for him to finish.
Yo, this is like the biggest 360, 180 I've seen, bro. What the hell? This can't be real.
I ate up all the white sauce. It was like licking off the Alfredo sauce from the plate.
Bro, what?
He dropped me off at home. About 5 minutes later, my boyfriend texted me and apologized for overreacting. He wanted to get back together with me. He came over and snuck through my window. We spent the night telling each other how much we loved one another. We had a make-up and a make-out session. He asked what I had for dinner, and I told him Alfredo pasta.
You're evil. You're evil. You are evil. You are evil. Not only did you just crack a random guy you don't know. He could have been a serial killer for all you know. That's crazy. But then you went and made out with your boyfriend after you licked up all of his white sauce with that same tongue. And then you had the audacity to tell your boyfriend, oh yeah, I had Alfredo. You was crazy.
He asked me if my dad overseasoned the pasta because he can taste some of the leftover salt from me. I had to come up with a lie and told him that I also ate some pickles. He told me not to worry because he actually likes the taste. I was completely shocked.
You was tasting another man's white sauce, bro. You was crazy. Next one.
My hot roommate keeps giving me forehead kisses when I'm asleep. How do I ask him to do it when I'm awake too? I've been struggling to deal with my sexuality ever since my roommate Jake has been giving me forehead kisses when he thinks I'm sleeping. I really like them and don't know how to approach the situation. I've sort of been very awkward around Jake ever since. Every time he does something nice, I think that he likes me, which makes me feel all warm inside and I start stuttering like crazy. He's called me out on it a couple of times, but I managed to defuse the situation. Thing is, I literally can't be around Jake anymore. Whenever I see him, I just think back to him kissing me and how I want him to do that all the time.
So I'm assuming she's lesbian, or she was lesbian, but now Jake is making her become undecided.
At his lips. It's a problem. One day, Jake asked me if he had done something to make me uncomfortable because I had been acting very weird around him. I reassured him that he didn't do anything and he shouldn't worry about it. He ended up confirming his bisexuality to me by telling me that if that's what's making me uneasy around him, then he can find a new place. I could barely even register his words because I just kept thinking about the fact that my chances with him shot up immediately. Because he likes men and chose to give me forehead kisses, so yeah, I have a chance.
Oh, so he's gay too. So y'all are both gay. But like he's kissing you on the forehead and it's making you feel some type of way.
But I did realize that my behavior around him has to change or else I would be creating a gap between us, and that's the opposite of what I want. So for the past week, my goal was to get my feelings under control and hang out with Jake like I would before this whole thing started. Everything was going good until it dawned on me that Jake hadn't been giving me kisses. I was pretty sad until I remembered that I had been napping in my room because again, I was trying to control my feelings. Well, I figured that a week was too long of a time without his kisses, so for my next nap, I slept on the couch. I didn't use a blanket on purpose. Closed my eyes, and just waited. Jake was in his room for a while watching something, but I knew he would come out at some point. I just had to be patient. I didn't realize it at that time, but I was falling asleep, which I didn't want to do, so I was just fighting the sleep until he came out. I was pretty much dying when I heard him say, "Oh, you're back on the couch." If it hadn't been for how tired I was, my whole body probably would have tensed up. I felt the blanket go on top of me, then the stroke of his finger on my cheek. My heart was racing at this point.
Nah, I don't think he's as gay as you think he is, man. What? He's over here touching your cheek?
My hair away from my forehead, and the moment I had been waiting for arrived. He kissed my forehead. I didn't realize just how much I missed his kisses, and the lack of sleep really added to this, but I ended up mumbling, "One more please." My heart dropped and I thought Jake was going to wake me up to confront me on this. To say I was scared and nervous was an understatement. Instead, he kissed me again. I ended up smiling like an idiot and he asked me if I liked it, to which I stupidly answered yes. He told me to rest and we'll talk about this later, and stroked my cheek again before leaving. When I woke up,
I think he likes you
the whole thing, but maybe that was my coping mechanism for slipping up and letting Jake know I was aware of his kisses. He was on the couch and he had this huge smirk on his face. He let me freshen up first and then I sat on the couch with him to begin our talk. He asked me if he liked the affection I was receiving, since he knows about my lack of affection growing up, or if I liked him because they were two completely different things. I was sure I liked him because he was always affectionate to me before and I didn't have these feelings for him back then. He then asked if I was weirded out by the kisses because even if he did them while I was awake, me being asleep changed things. I embarrassingly admitted that I was looking forward to them whenever I napped. He started grinning so much that it actually scared me for a second. He said he liked me too, but knows I never liked guys before so he wants to take this slow. That was fine by me as long as we were dating. He officially asked me out on a date the next day and he's been giving me forehead kisses while I'm awake now. You can now check if there is a part 2 by clicking share and more.
Wow. All right. Well, damn, that's actually cute. I like that story. That's vibey. I'm not gonna hold you. That's a nice little wholesome story. I thought I ain't gonna lie. I for a second there, I thought that was gonna turn into the opposite direction, bro. I was gonna have to click off. Kind of like how that last story was, man. I ain't gonna hold you.
What are your craziest dark web stories? 1. I remember a long time ago there was a guy online that was trying to buy large quantities of bedbugs.
Bedbugs? Wow.
When questioned why he wanted them, he basically said that he wanted to try to breed them to be resistant to normal methods of killing them while simultaneously breeding in a weakness that only he knew.
Who is this nigga a supervillain? Why are you training bedbugs to be, like, resistant to, like, poisons and shit? Bro, we don't want them just in our bed. What, are you trying to terrorize the whole society?
Way he could release them in people's houses and then force them to pay him to get rid of the bedbugs since no one else would be able to kill them.
I'm not gonna lie, this is a smart ass play. Yo, this is actually a super villain plot. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I wanna hate, but at the same time, this shit just smart as hell. Like, that's an infinite money glitch.
2. A friend of mine claims he was snooping around where he didn't belong, like black market forums and hacking forums. When someone private messaged him basically saying, "I've looked into you because I see you in here a lot and I know you're not here to buy or use the services because you're just a kid. I don't mind, but others would."
I just thought of something. Imagine there was like an evil Shark Tank, right? And it's and basically anybody with like evil intentions can give their like crazy evil like business plans to a bunch of supervillains or some shit. And if one of the supervillains likes it, and if one of the supervillains like it, they'll invest into the idea and help him actually carry it out. That would be a crazy show concept. I'm not finna lie. That would be insane. Somebody write that. Somebody make that.
And you haven't protected yourself well enough to be here. Get off if you know what's good for you. 3. The dude who can hack you and put horrible shit on your computer so you can go to prison. I wouldn't annoy that dude. 4. While randomly clicking around Tor one night, I found a site with a riddle and a text box to enter an answer. After figuring it out, it took me to another page that had a message to decode, and another text box. Basically every page was a puzzle and got harder every time. I was 15 and not very smart with those kinds of things, so I found a forum where other people had discovered the site and were talking about it. Apparently on the final page it just displayed a date and a quote from Alice in Wonderland. I believe it was just a site made to be some sort of entertainment for very experienced decoders.
Bro, those type of sites will fuck up your whole computer, man. I'm not gonna lie. Get off that shit.
And programmers, but there was speculation that it was a hacker recruiting site similar to Cicada 3301. Either way, it creeped me out a lot. 5. Hitman site. No idea if it was a scam. I'd be willing to bet they just take the money and run, but I noped out quick anyway. It was like you pay them the equivalent of $5,000 USD upfront in Bitcoin and they eliminate someone of your choosing and cover it up and you pay the rest later. Scary as F6. I used to
That's scary as hell. I'm not gonna lie. Especially the first one, bro. Imagine if somebody actually bought that many bed bugs, breeded them up, and actually released them shits, and only he could cure the shit. That shit would cause so many problems.
What is the most disgusting thing you have ever done that you took pleasure in? My wife and I had 2 wonderful daughters, 13 and 10, and a pretty healthy relationship.
I hope this is not going to a bad place.
She got very clingy to her phone all of a sudden, made sure to delete the saved password feature on our common PC, stated having phone calls that suddenly ended when I came into the room. You can probably guess
she cheating, buddy. Yeah, she cheating.
Now having 15 years of marriage behind us, I was hoping it wasn't what it obviously seemed to be. So one day when she told me she was going to spend some time with the girls,
15 years of marriage, that's not even cheating no more. That's having an affair, my nigga. Yo, his wife, his kids involved, bills involved. Yeah, that's an affair, buddy. I ain't gonna lie. Go ahead and get the divorce ready. What the hell?
What is the most disgusting thing? What is the most disgusting thing you be? I decided the best course was getting even. I will call Steve. To time with the girls, I decided. But one day when she told me she was going to spend some time with the girls, I decided to follow her. Sure enough, I find her came into the room. You can probably guess what it was. Now having 15 years of marriage behind us, I was hoping it wasn't what it obviously seemed to be. So one day when she told me she was going to spend some time with the girls, I decided to follow her. Sure enough, I find her driving to a hotel to meet with a guy I will call Steve. To say it was a gut punch was an understatement. I literally cried for an hour straight.
You got your girl took by a nigga named Steve? Come on, bro.
After I was done with my self-wallowing phase, I decided the best course was getting even. I thought of several scenarios that may or may not have involved me hurting Steve. Eventually I decided to do things more civilly and more importantly legally.
Yeah, Steve's not the issue.
So the first part of the plan was gathering evidence.
Wife.
I could have just gotten a pie, but I had something better in mind. So one day when my wife was at her job and the kids at school, I installed some small secret cameras and microphones I had bought. Due to the setup of our bedroom, I even managed to get one perfectly overlooking the bed.
Okay.
I didn't, however, use them while I was at home. So a couple of days pass, when I proposed to my wife that the second to next weekend I should take the girls on a trip and stay a night too. I more often than not was the one cooking. I took a far more active role in raising the girls and showed them a lot more patience and attention. She was usually busy working or drinking, so me going alone with the girls on a trip wasn't that weird. So 2 weeks pass, in which time I get my affairs in order and contact a lawyer to write up a separation agreement that would involve me keeping residents in custody. I go on the trip, try to not give anything away to the girls and wait and see if Steve and my wife fall into the trap. When I returned, I checked the recordings of the weekend, and sure enough it's a 36-hour fest. When they weren't doing the deed, the dialogue was something even better. I found out that Steve had a wife, but even worse, they also talked about me.
Oh, so they both ain't shit. What, he has a wife too? Now this is a big affair, bro. This is a Hallmark movie affair, man, bro. Like, what the hell? Plus 36 hours? Them niggas had stamina like that?
The obvious character assassination that I expected about how small my PP was, an insecurity of mine, how I didn't satisfy her, but there was some really...
I ain't gonna lie, buddy. It may be some validity to that, bro.
Hurtful stuff, like her telling Steve some of my deepest secrets and shameful stories that I had only told her about.
Now that's
just
crazy.
So they could have a laugh.
If you gonna have a side nigga, do whatever. You can talk shit about your main nigga, but never tell secrets that your husband told you to him. That's weird. I'm not gonna lie.
Told him about my dope story and how I attempted to take my life when I was 16. So
Bro,
at this point I didn't have
up.
any doubts on what to do. The next day when the kids left, but before my wife left, I confronted her with the video and told her that either she signs the separation agreement and leaves the house, or the girls are going to receive an in-depth explanation of all the positions in which mommy cheated on daddy.
Oh! Nah, you messed up for that, bro. I like that shit out of you, twin, though. I ain't gonna lie. I like that shit out of you. That's evil as shit. I like that, though. She deserves it. I'm not gonna lie. Telling your deepest, darkest secrets while she getting plowed down by a nigga named Steve.
Wasn't gonna do that. Just to be clear, I love my daughters too much, but I put the threat there and she was too emotional to realize my bluff. She went through all the stages, denying everything, trying to bargain, threatening me, and getting angry. I let it go through all that stuff. Eventually she signed the paper and she departed that very evening after she told her goodbyes to the girls. I didn't show or tell the girls anything graphic. I was always very...
Good shit, though. Good shit for protecting your girl's image of your mother, right? I mean, of their mother. At least not showing them in the video, because that would have been harsh. Good shit, though. Good W-dad activity.
Very honest with them, which is another reason why I was always the favorite parent, so I just said that mommy had been unfaithful. The younger took some time figuring it out, but that was made up by my older getting mightily upset. She had just gotten her first boyfriend, as I'm not sure the term really applies at that age, but she knew enough of the world to get mad big time. This would be important at a would-be custody battle, as though she did for the moment agree to give over custody. I feared, and I was right to fear, that she would try and fight me for the kids. What I didn't expect was for her to use her visitation rights to talk crap about me. Basically she started telling my younger kid about how it was all my fault for not forgiving her. Her lawyer even started...
See, and no, that's fucked up, right? Because you know the younger one doesn't really know what's going on, bro. The older one, she already knew she couldn't get to the older one because, you feel me? Nigga, it's obvious she's in the wrong, right? But trying to attack the younger one is just scummy as hell, bro. Let him have the kids, bro. You fucked up. Let him take the kids, man.
Demanding she receive custody. So I finally activated my revenge plan. Enter trip to South Carolina. Why South Carolina? Simple. Fort Sumter. I really wanted my daughters to see it. I definitely did not go there because it is one of the last places where revenge porn isn't illegal, and where I could upload my wife and Steve's doings and intimate moments with no worries on the internet and other such sites, as you cannot be...
No! You messed up for that! Hey, that's karma, though. That's karma.
...for crimes that weren't illegal when and where they were committed. I especially made sure to include the clip where Steve could not get it up. I sent the links to my wife's employer...
You messed up!
Clients,
he couldn't even get it up.
And everybody in her line of work, just to be sure, to Steve's wife and to his firm. Steve
wow.
soon got a divorce. I feel sorry for his wife, as she was an innocent victim in all of this. But I think
but you got to get with Steve's wife now, though. You have to get with Steve's wife. Like, that's the only way you can fully get the revenge going, though. I'm not gonna lie. You got to get with her wife. You got to, you feel me, do your little thing, and then y'all got to get married and some shit, man. That's what has to happen. I'm not gonna hold you. This nigga is evil, bro. You went all the way to South Carolina to upload that shit, bro. That's crazy.
Better that she found out. As for my wife, this was the end of any chance to get custody. She soon got fired from her job of 8 years. I got custody. Yes, due to her being unemployed, I got no alimony. But honestly, I make enough money to sustain both me and the girls. So I don't care, and I'm good enough at caring for them, and they are old enough to allow me to have a full-time job.
If roles were reversed, though, I'm not gonna lie, he for sure would have got alimony, which is kind of fucked up, but hey, that's how the country is.
Months later, my wife is still unemployed. Last time I spoke to her wife, she threatened to come and take my life, and how this will be revenge for ruining hers.
What?
What is the most disgusting?
Nigga, she over here acting like, you feel me? She acting like she had some actual, you feel me? She acting like she actually didn't do anything wrong, bro. That's crazy. I hate people who are just entitled just to feel entitled, bro. You fucked up. You cheated on your husband, and then you tried to manipulate your younger daughter into like hating your ex that you cheated on. You're crazy. I'm not gonna lie. You are crazy, and it's a good thing that you don't got the kids. I'm not gonna hold you. Let's get to the next one.
My mom gave birth to me when she was 17. Yeah, okay. I know how that sounds. From what I've heard, she used to sleep around so much in high school that she doesn't even know who my father is.
Jeez, nigga. What?
She eventually found out, and I can't believe this well-known former YouTuber is my father. As a woman in her teens, she was definitely not willing to raise a child. But my grandparents didn't allow her to get an abortion.
That's crazy.
As a result, she was forced to take care of me. She was the opposite of a good mother. If I was crying, she would put on loud music and pretend that didn't exist.
That's
there were
crazy.
nights when I had to go to bed hungry because she refused to breastfeed me and I wouldn't eat anything else. Thankfully, my grandparents noticed this and took me under their care. My mother was happy to stay away from me and went back to her type of lifestyle. She moved out into a dorm to prepare for college. My grandmother
So she had a kid at 17 and then proceeded to keep on going with her life while not caring about her kid's life. That's crazy, bro.
Proper care of me at home, and my grandfather would take me to the park often. He had a surgery done on his hip, so he wasn't able to move that much, but always made sure to play with me. I consider them my real parents and will always be grateful to them.
Because they were.
When I was 4 years old, they hired a babysitter to take care of me because they had to attend a wedding. On their way back, they had a terrible accident and unfortunately didn't make it.
Oh, R.I.P., bro.
I didn't know that my life was about to become a living hell. I cried for days and days. The house was in my mother's name, so she moved back.
Oh, shit, no. Now, okay, this is exact. I already know what's gonna happen, bro. She's finna start bringing out, what the hell? Okay. She's finna start bringing her hoes around. They finna be cracking her in the house, and she's gonna treat her son like shit. Nigga. That's crazy, bro.
It's like she was happy that her parents were gone, because she began having late night parties in the house literally a week later.
Exactly.
She became the queen of
She's still like a 22-year-old. She's still in college, bro. That's so insane that she didn't care that her parents died, bro.
College because she had an empty house where everyone could hang out and do substances. At that time I still wasn't over the passing of my real parents, so I would cry violently in my room. Sometimes my cries would reach downstairs, and I guess her friends asked about it because she would barge into my room with anger on her face and put tape over my mouth.
Tape?
She would proudly say, "If you keep crying, I'll throw you out the window."
Like, what the hell?
So I would cover my mouth with my hands and cry with a muffled voice. I remember having to beg her for food because she would always be hungover. After a few months of this kept repeating, she became fed up with me and took me to another state. I was excited because I thought we were finally going to spend time as a family. Guess what she did? She left me on the front door of an orphanage and drove off.
Yo, what the fuck? I mean, I kind of expected it, though. I mean, she obviously didn't want to take care of the kid. Imagine telling your kid that y'all finna go on an amazing vacation after years of you neglecting them, and then the first thing you do is just drop them off at the orphanage. Like, what the hell? In a different state, so they can never contact you again.
Little did she know that would be the start of her downfall. I thought I got left on the door of an orphanage, but it turns out some big African-American man was taking care of me now. He gave me a cupcake and he was very nice. He introduced himself as EDP 445.
What the? Yo, nigga, what the fuck? This fake ass story. Nah, nigga, what? Nah, that's funny as shit. Talking about EDP, bro.
What is a secret that you will never tell anyone? 1. When I was in 4th grade, I put mustard in one of my friend's burgers because he had told me that he hated mustard. Turns out he was actually allergic.
Oh.
He didn't come to school for 3 days and I was terrified.
Nah, bro, you poisoned him.
I did it.
What the
2.
hell?
When I was in elementary school, I once lost something, so I asked to go to the lost and found. In the lost and found room, which was a big storage closet, they also stored the soda for the vending machines. I took one. Then, probably 3 to 4 times a week, I'd remember I lost something else and go steal another soda. I don't know how long I did this for, but I got a lot of free soda.
I ain't gonna lie, I used to steal from the lost and found too, bro. Whenever, like, yo, I would always treat the lost and found in my school as like a thrift store, bro. If I seen a hoodie I liked, I would get it. If I seen a lunchbox I liked, I would get it. Didn't matter what it was, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I remember I found a tough ass trench coat one time in the lost and found, bro.
3. Probably 15 years ago, my sister had a gerbil, and one day I decided to bring it out of her cage and surprise her in the living room with it. Somehow I slipped on carpet and the gerbil went flying headfirst into the wall. It basically sounded like I threw a golf ball at the wall and the gerbil wasn't moving. Naturally, I put it back in its cage and removed myself from the vicinity. To my amazement, the damn thing was still alive and moving around a few minutes later and lived another 2 years without anyone ever knowing that I basically
Yo, that
pulled it into the wall
nigga,
at
that
full speed.
gerbil Iron Man,
4.
fuck, what the
I didn't
hell?
know my best friend's name for almost 10 years. She goes by Katie almost exclusively and got it in my head early on that it was short for Caitlin. Imagine my surprise when I heard her being referred to as Catherine at our convocation. No right way to bring that one up in a conversation. 5. I really don't like / care for anyone in my family.
Okay.
6. One Christmas I
Damn.
was 9 years old and knew that Santa wasn't real, but for my 7-year-old brother the fantasy was very much alive and good.
Don't tell me,
We
bro.
shared a room and my brother woke up on Christmas morning and looked confused that Santa had not eaten the Kit Kat that had been left out. He went quiet and I could see that he was working the facts through in his head. When he wasn't looking, I ate the Kit Kat and showed him the wrapper and claimed he imagined seeing the wrapper unopened. This was 26 years ago and I have not
W,
told him in
brother.
case he works out Santa is not real. What is a secret
W,
that
brother,
you will
I'm
never...
not gonna lie. I thought that was gonna go in a different route. I thought he was gonna tell him. I thought he was gonna expose the truth about Santa, bro. I remember one time I was in I was in middle school, and I did that shit. I ain't gonna. I was in like 7th grade, and I told the kid Santa wasn't real, bro. And that nigga, I ruined his whole Christmas, bro. I'm not gonna lie, I ruined his whole Christmas. The shit was funny as hell. Everybody knew, but nah, and niggas didn't know, but like the teacher was pissed off at me because she was like, "Yo, why would you do that?" But I low-key kind of did it because my dad did the same thing to me, didn't let me have a child, and it's like, what the fuck? Had to keep the generational curse on going.
What is your biggest secret you keep from everyone? When I was 17, my best friend was 16 and a year behind me in school. We had
Okay.
met in a split class of grade 4 and 5 students. A couple weeks after the new school year started, we went out biking on a weekend and he went over an edge on the pathway we were on and died. It was a 25-foot drop onto a rocky ridge line and then into a river another 50 feet below, and he landed head first.
Damn.
It was declared an
RIP.
accident. His bike had slipped on something and lost control and he went right over the edge. I was riding in front and didn't notice anything till I heard the crash behind me. He didn't make a sound going over the edge. When I turned around and looked, it was a sight I will never forget and still have nightmares about. I had a cell phone with me and called 911, but there was nothing to be done. Even from up where I was, I could see his helmet had cracked and blood pooling around his head. His family blamed me for the death, even though it was an accident.
That's traumatizing as shit. Imagine having a good ass day with your best friend and then he just goes off a cliff and you just see his whole entire fucking head split open. That's sad, bro.
Accident, saying I had pushed him to ride too hard. It was a bike path in the city, but they
Why would the family blame you,
Or that
though?
I had distracted him, stuff like
You
that.
can't
Not
stop
about
that.
9 months later, I had to clear out our locker at school. Even though I was in grade 12 and he was in grade 11, we arranged to share a locker at the end of the school year. As I was cleaning it out, I found an envelope taped to the bottom, a shelf addressed to me. I took it home and it was more than a month before I could open it. 2 days after my 18th birthday, and it turned out to be a suicide note he had written the Friday before the accident. It laid it all out, including the very details of how he planned to do it, down to the bend in the pathway that had no guardrail and the reason for why he was doing it. It has been almost 8 years since I opened that note and I've only told a lawyer, who I contacted.
What the fuck? No, that's traumatizing as shit. There's no way. Nah, bro. If this shit is real, bro, that's fucked up. I'm not gonna lie. Putting your best friend through that shit is weird too, nigga. Why don't you just ride the bike yourself? What? That's fucked up, bro. Cause now your best friend, you traumatizing your best friend and all of that, bro. Like, if you gonna do that shit, there's just so many better ways to do that, bro. Even if you was gonna delete yourself, you could at least not even leave the note, my nigga. You just traumatized your best friend.
Contacted about having to turn the note over to the cops. He said no and gave me a detailed written explanation for me to keep as to why I didn't have to, and a counselor a couple years later. The note and the explanation from the lawyer in a lockbox, as I cannot bring myself to get rid of it. To this day his family still blames me for his death, but I refuse to tell them the truth as their religious beliefs would make it impossible to bear. What is your biggest secret you keep?
That's a crazy secret. Like, I don't even, what would y'all do? I'm not gonna lie, I would probably take that to my grave too. But at the same time, that's fucking fucked. Yo, Damn.
Am I in the wrong for beating up my eggplant in front of the camera my mom forced me to have in my
Yo,
room? I'm a
what?
17-year-old guy and my mom has always been a bit overprotective. Recently she took it to the next level by insisting on putting a surveillance camera in my room for my safety. I found it super invasive and uncomfortable, but she wouldn't take no for an answer. So in an act of defiance I decided to beat my eggplant right in front of the camera every day for a week. I figured if she wanted to invade my privacy, she'd have to
You insane. You're insane. You was insane. What are we talking? I don't care how defiant, I don't care how pissed off I am at my mother, I'm not putting her through that shit. I don't want her to see my meat. What the hell?
With the consequences, I made sure to look directly into the camera, making it clear that I knew it was there, and I didn't care.
Crazy.
After a week, my mom came to me furious. She had finally watched the footage and saw what I'd been doing. She said she was absolutely disgusted and yelled at me for being disrespectful and said I was acting like a child. I told her that if she wanted to invade my privacy, she had to be prepared for what she might see. She took the camera down immediately, but now she's giving me the silent treatment and acting like I'm the bad guy. My dad
You are, my nigga. Yo, what? You're not finna gaslight me into thinking you're the good guy in this situation. You did not have to do that. There's other ways of getting that camera removed, bro. I'm not gonna lie. But beating your dick right in front of the camera is crazy.
I went too far and I think he secretly finds it funny, but he also agrees that having a camera in my room was too much. My sister won't even talk to me anymore after my mom told her what I had done, but my friends think it's hilarious and say my mom got
It is hilarious, but still.
what she deserved. I'm not sure how to feel.
It is hilarious, but it's hilarious, bro, but you can't tell me looking dead into the camera, beating your meat like this ain't crazy as shit. There's a better way you could have went about that shit, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Nigga going insane. What the hell? Alright, last one, bro. Let's do a long one this time.
I refused to spot a gym girl because she refused to stop.
No, not that one.
I had to sleep with my sister to prove to my parents that she was obsessed with me.
Yo,
it all
what?
started when she would bury her head under my skirt. She kept challenging me to climb an old treehouse, which I finally did, only to realize she could see up my skirt as I climbed. I screamed at her to stop looking, and she acted like I was disgusting for thinking she was looking. The whole situation was super weird, so I just let it go and never mentioned it again. A few months later, I caught her looking at my photos on my phone.
No. We're gonna save that for a different time. What the fuck? Let's just get this one in.
What is the craziest thing you've done out of being hot and bothered? I went down on my cousin during quarantine. 1 week into quarantine, my
This
work
might be even
reduced my
worse. What
hours
the
due to the
fuck?
2019 sickness. I now work 10-hour days on Monday and Friday. My cousin Liz, a college freshman, asked to stay in my spare bedroom to avoid her chaotic home with 5 siblings. Despite financial concerns after my recent divorce, my uncle generously offered to cover my rent for the next 2 months to support Liz during this uncertain time. So 2 weeks ago, I reunited with my younger cousin after 8 years. In the 8 years I hadn't seen her, she's transformed from a lanky 11-year-old to a considerate, cool teenager, now 5 feet.
No,
10
that you was trying to say she was bad. You trying to say she's bad, but you not trying to sound like a creep. My nigga, you already fucked this bitch. What? What are we talking about, my nigga? Huh? Niggas playing a house in real life.
Inches with a slim figure. She's into rock climbing and bouldering, evident in her strong arms and calloused hands. With just a laptop, switch, and suitcase of clothes, her minimal belongings fit seamlessly into my tidy apartment. Before Liz arrived, I expected awkwardness, but we discovered surprising commonalities. Our shared interests in music and board games made our time enjoyable. Even on days of comfortable silence, we didn't mind. Movie nights became a routine. We'd each pick a film, make dinner around 6, and then swap roles. Liz's presence in the kitchen was a highlight, as my ex-wife's culinary preferences differed. Liz and I shared
Okay. You said she's a teenager, but you're a full adult. You had an ex-wife. Nigga, isn't this a crime? Hopefully she's like 18, 19, but at the same time,
love
what?
for home-cooked meals, and our nightly dinner preparations became special moments. However, I found myself drawn to her, reminiscent of moments with my ex-wife. I caught myself...
Brother, that is your cousin. Why are you drawn to your cousin? That is family.
Just staring at the back of her neck, her hair tied up while she focused on some mundane task like chopping up an onion and resisting the urge to gently kiss her on the shoulder. Last Monday, I sensed
What?
Liz might be interested in me. After the first movie, she walked into the living room post-shower, wearing just a towel, and asked about the pizza. My attempt at composure failed.
Nah,
as
I ain't gonna
awkwardly-
lie. She was for show trying to throw up a shot. That's crazy. Just a towel? I don't care how cool he is. Never get comfortable with me walking into the room with a fucking towel unless you're trying to get cracked. Right? Like that. Don't do that, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
replied,
Especially if you're my
I'd like
family.
to lie to you and say that I kept my surprise hidden and acted as if there wasn't a mostly unclothed 18-year-old suddenly standing in front of me, but after looking her up and
Okay,
down,
she's 18.
my gaze lingering too long, Liz just smirked, gave me a crooked smile, and walked back to the bathroom saying, well, it smells really good. After regaining my composure,
Nigga, yeah, she's trying to tease. She's teasing you, bro. She's teasing you. Like, are y'all, like, what? You got it, like, nah, at that moment, bro, as a responsible adult, you got to kick her out, bro. As a responsible adult. The fact that you didn't kick her out after this, yo, nigga, you was trying to fuck. I don't care what you say in this story.
I found her in a hoodie and shorts, staring at her phone. Grateful for the distraction, I tried to shake off the lingering image of her, but thankfully, it seemed she was not too concerned with my lingering eyes, and I tried to forget the recent image of so much perfect skin. I sliced the hot pizza,
bro.
puzzled by Liz's towel prank, wondering if it was a joke or something more. During the movie, she was intermittently on her phone, likely texting friends from college. At one point, she stretched out on the couch, resting her feet against my leg. When I suggested stretching them out,
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, she trying to fuck. Yep. This is the average. I'm trying to crack playbook that a girl use, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
she smiled and placed her feet on my lap. Without thinking, I began massaging her cold feet, a reflex from my past.
Come on, bro.
Realizing my actions, I froze and apologized, explaining it was an instinct from massaging my ex-wife's feet.
Nah,
Liz,
bro, you know
with
what
a
you
laughter,
doing.
reassured me, saying I don't mind at all. It actually feels really nice. I went on a long run while you were at work, so you won't hear any complaints from me. As we continued, I found myself immersed in the simple pleasure of the moment, paying little attention to the movie. As her feet warmed, I moved down to her calves, prompting a light noise from Liz. Curious, she said, why would Nicole leave this? The comment surprised her, and she anxiously checked my reaction.
What the fuck? Why would what? Y'all, both of y'all freaked out, bro. Both of y'all are freaked out.
I just weakly smiled
hell?
without commenting. Sensing her tension, I turned down the movie volume and shared a bit about my past with Nicole. We wanted different things, especially
now
regarding
niggas
kids.
talking.
She desired her own, while I leaned towards adoption. We found out about a year ago, and that was kind of the beginning of the end. It was pretty quiet for a while as we both just quietly watched the rest of the movie, and I continued rubbing her feet and legs. At this point I had successfully forgotten about the towel incident. The movie ended and credits were scrolling when Liz pulled her feet off my lap and sat up, stretching long arms arching above her tiled back head. Her neck incredibly exposed and amazingly bare in the low light of the mostly dark living room, with her hair in her braid behind her head. She stood up, shuffled over closer to me, and sat down, our legs touching through the blanket I still had over my leg. Without looking over to me, just looking forward, she said, I'm really glad you're letting me stay with you. It's nice being in a peaceful place for once. And I'm sorry.
Nigga, what the? This feels like a fucking porno. Yo, what? Nah, not even a porno, bro. It feels like one of those weird movies about a situation, like one of those weird incest movies about a situation like this, bro. Nah.
I made you think about Nicole. I really didn't mean to. His voice trailed off. I glanced over, just turning my head slightly. Don't worry about it. The divorce finalized about 2 months ago, and we both saw it coming for a while. I've had time to process and move on. It's not that painful anymore. We sat in a peaceful silence as the credits rolled, enjoying the music. Eventually, Liz broke the silence, shifting to face me directly. Thanks for the massage. As I began to turn and respond, she surprised me by reaching across my chest, behind my neck, and kissing me on the cheek. Her warm lips and the unexpected touch sent a cool fire down my legs.
Hell no, nigga. What the? What is this story, bro? What am I watching? What am I watching, bro? What are we watching? What the fuck? Nigga, she being bold like that?
After a brief moment, she lingered, searching for a reaction. Sensing the need for space to make a good decision, I gently moved her hands off my neck, stood up, and said, I still need a shower. Mind putting the pizza away? Liz gave me a sad light of the living room and nodded. I very pointedly
Wait.
searching for a reaction. Sensing the need for space to make a good decision, I gently moved her hands off my neck, stood up, and said, I still need a shower. Mind putting the pizza away? Liz gave me a sad light of the living room and nodded.
Okay, well, fuck, stop doing that, nigga. I wanted to watch the little parts. But hey, at least he did the semi-responsible thing in the situation. But you can't fool me, bitch. But you can't fool me. I'm not gonna lie. I know your intentions, bro.
I very pointedly did not run to the bathroom, turned the shower on cold, and stripped out of my clothes. I suppose now is a good time to describe what I saw staring back at me in the mirror. I'm about 6 even, keep my head shaved because it started getting thin in high school and got very thin after, and I have a decent beard that I take pretty good care of to compensate. My body shows that I bike to work on nice days, hit the work gym through the winter, and go on the occasional hike, but I also drink too many lattes and really like good pasta. Prime dad bod from what I understand. My quite average pickle had relaxed a little bit from Liz's kiss, but was still resting at about half-mast, hoping for release. I jumped into the shower and turned my chest into the cold water to hopefully knock some sense into my foggy head. Cold showers were not unfamiliar territory, thanks to the apartment's lackluster water
That
heater.
nigga talking about he was half bricked on half chub with your cousin. Yo, younger 18-year-old cousin, bro. Come on.
It was a habit I picked up, a routine that helped dull my senses and shove thoughts of Liz down a bit. As I began lathering up and conditioning my beard, the knock on the bathroom door announced Liz's presence. She cracked open the door and asked casually, "Mind if I brush my teeth real fast?" With minimal regard for my response.
She's sharking and shit, bro. She's sharking. Yo, bro, I hate people like this who take the hint, who get the hint, but just ignore it, bro. Like, nigga, I ain't trying to fuck with you. At the same time, I think he was trying to fuck with her, but at the same time, like, bro, he's trying to resist his temptations, bro. Let him do.
She entered, started brushing her teeth, and then inquired about the cold shower. "Why a cold shower?" she asked. "They help me get to sleep," I fibbed, adding, "I'm not sure exactly why." Liz seemed to accept my lame excuse, and after she finished, she left the bathroom. Completing my shower routine, I wrapped myself up in a towel, brushed my teeth, and quietly slipped into the kitchen for a glass of water. Assuming Liz had retired.
No. You know what you was doing. You know what you was doing. Yeah, you could have put some pants on, my nigga. He was doing that thing where as a guy, we've all done it. As a guy, you've always had that one girl that you know you shouldn't be talking to. You know you shouldn't be giving attention to. You know you shouldn't be fucking with. But it's just something about her that just won't keep you away, right? So she'll flirt with you and you act like, nah, whatever. You'll turn it down, right? But then, a couple moments later, you might throw a little shot in there just to give her a little chance. See if she takes it. You feel me? But then when she takes it, you'll just send mixed signals, right? That's basically what you do. But then, instead of like, you feel me, removing yourself from that girl completely, just removing yourself from the situation, separating yourself, or just boldly telling her, "Nah, I'm not trying to fuck with you," you'll put yourself in situations where she, you feel me, potentially in her brain could still think she has a chance, bro. We all just do it because we like the attention, because at the same time, girls don't oftentimes express their interest in guys. We have to express our interest in them. But at the same time, my nigga, you knew what you was doing, bro. You could have wore some pants.
To bed or her room, I found her playing her Switch on the TV with the volume low. Trying to act nonchalant, I grabbed my water, but Liz playfully teased, "How the turntables." Her laughter followed me as I walked down the hallway. Despite the cold shower's attempt to wash away the heat of the moment, thoughts of Liz lingered, keeping me awake for at least an hour before I eventually fell to sleep. The next morning, Liz slept in while I cleaned the kitchen and started breakfast by 9. Nearly done, I knocked on her door, but no response. Opening it, I found her still asleep. Gently waking her, I offered breakfast, and she chose to join. After breakfast, unexpected work calls came, and I had to go in. I returned after 9 p.m., stressed and ready for a shower. Liz, still up, offered to warm food while I cleaned up. A quick shower later, I found tea and warm pizza waiting. Liz, sitting on the couch, declared, "It's payback time." Initiating a massage, her bouldering trained hands worked wonders, finding the sweet spot between pleasure and pain. As the massage continued, Liz switched to my arm.
Y'all playing a dangerous game, bro.
Even popping each finger individually. It was a new experience, but Liz knew her craft. The massage extended to my forehead and temples, running her fingers through my beard. An absolute.
But hold on, how did she do this though? Like, was you laying in her lap, or was she on your lap doing this shit? I ain't gonna lie, we need some more details.
Slice of heaven. With my eyes closed, I felt her lips press against my forehead, and she whispered, "Now I think you owe me, right?" Tilting my head, I kissed the inside of her hand, agreeing
this nigga, yeah, she cooked that nigga. She sauced up that nigga.
That I owed her. Liz ran her fingers over my shoulders and chest, stating, "You'll have to pay your debt tomorrow. It's getting pretty late." She stood up, walked toward her bedroom, and disappeared, lying back on the couch.
Bro, nah, she know what she doing. She teasing the fuck out of this nigga, bro. He like, y'all
Contemplating
crazy.
Liz in a new light, I sipped cold tea and ate cold pizza. It took me even longer to fall asleep that night. On Wednesday morning, I was stirred awake by the sound of the front door closing. Peeking out of my bedroom, I noticed Liz's running shoes absent from the rack, a telltale sign of her early jog routine. Deciding to seize the opportunity for a bit more shut-eye, I settled back into bed, dozing off and drifting into new thoughts of Liz. My slumber was interrupted once more when I heard the front door creaking open again. This time, Liz returned, breathing heavily and wrapped in layers of sweats and a jacket to fend off the brisk morning chill. Our location was prone to chilly mornings, and her bundled appearance attested to the need for warmth. Pulling her headphones out, she apologized, "Sorry, didn't mean to wake you up." "Oh, I've been in and out. Want me to balance the scales after a shower?" I offered. Liz closed her eyes, sighed, and nodded. "That sounds great. I get tense after running in the cold." Utilizing her shower time, I got a few things ready. Stripping my bed down to the mattress cover, sheets needed washing anyway. I laid out a beach towel, fetched some oils that had been intended for Nicole but were never used, and arranged them on my bedside table. Seated at the edge
you freaked out, You freaked out. Oh, no. Talking about massage, nigga. You finna oil her cheeks up, man.
my
You
bed.
crazy.
I searched for relaxing music to set the mood. After some time, I heard the water turn off, and Liz emerged from her room in just a towel. Stepping back into the hallway, a hint of moisture clung to her neck, and her hair was wrapped up. "What are you setting up in here?" she inquired. "You upped the game last night. I don't want to be in debt forever," I explained. Raising an eyebrow, she responded, "Well, I'll be in just a few. Let me put some clothes on." A brief time later, I began playing soothing music from my computer and moved to the head of the bed as Liz entered wearing sweats and a sports bra. Sitting cross-legged on the towel with her mostly bare back facing me, she glanced over her shoulder. Her hair was tied up in a messy bun, and the light dusting of Freckles' nose was uncovered by any makeup. "Go ahead," she encouraged. I poured oil
Nah, man.
into my hands, warming it up, and started massaging Liz's upper back, beginning from where her sports bra crossed her back.
Nah,
As I moved up
bruh.
her spine, she sighed deeply and leaned back into my hands. After completing the upper portion of her back, framed by bra straps, I moved my hands under the straps, silently waiting for a reaction. Sensing none, I gently pulled her straps off her shoulders, letting them rest on her arms, and continued massaging her shoulders.
Yo.
Liz spoke up, "Can you close your eyes?" Lost in the sensation of her smooth skin, I was puzzled. "What? Close your eyes?" With closed eyes and hands still on her shoulders, I asked, "Okay, now what?" After a while, I felt her pulling her bra off past my hands. I sensed her shifting her weight and making adjustments. It felt like hours, my topless cousin so close while I waited in self-imposed darkness. "Okay, open up." Liz lay on her stomach on the towel she had pulled to the side, facing the head of the bed and turned toward me. "Bras just get in the way, right?" Nervousness tinged her voice, so I tried to reassure her. I laughed.
What?
"I don't mind at all. They do get in the way, that's for sure." I moved over her, kneeling on her upper legs, and poured more oil into my hands. Remembering the massage and percentages advice, I mentally divided her back into 50 sections and aimed for about 10 seconds per section. Starting low, I
Y'all
worked my
freaked
fingers
out.
into the muscles above her hips, gradually moving lower toward the center of her back and upper spine, adding oil as needed. Pressing into her shoulder blades, the sun cut through the blinds, glistening on her back. Descending to her lower back, I traced her skin gently, grazing the sides of her girls with my fingertips. Her breathing caught, then increased. Liz bounced her legs, asking for another round on her feet and legs. "Sure thing. Want to change into shorts, or should I take off your sweats?" She loosened her pant string. "You can just take them off if that's okay with you." I stood, pulled down her sweats, revealing dark blue panties. As she raised her hips, I removed the pants, tossing them aside. After pouring more oil,
Y'all
I
freaked
began at the heels,
out.
massaging the tendon connection and moving up to the balls of
Why
her
is
feet.
he telling this story so, like, sexually, though?
Working oil between
Feels
each
like a
toe,
book.
progressing past her ankles. I massaged her calves from knee to feet, then poured more oil and moved slowly, taking around 2 minutes, from the base of her feet past her calves, behind her knees, along her hamstrings, stopping just below her panties, and massaging back down to her knees. I heard her breathing deepen, indicating she was enjoying it. And what is the craziest
What
thing?
the? I'm finding the rest of this story. I'm finding the rest of this story right now. We're not doing that shit.